All right, everybody, we're here. It's time. This is the inaugural game of Season 1 of the Manifold Promotional League. I'm Brad. With me here, as always, is Adam. Adam, what do we got?
All right, so we've got Chris versus Steven as our first game. Starting off with Steven's deck, he's going to be playing Sylvestra and Starlet as a green-yellow deck that he's come to enjoy. I've played against him a couple times on this exact deck. Really, this deck lets Steven have as many choices as possible throughout the game. He has lots of control over what his cards do and how they interact with his opponent. And he's got the stats to back it up in stuff like Energy Retracer and Orchestral Conductor.
And Steven's one of the powerhouses in our scene. He's made it to the finals in both of the two PAOs. And this is a real comfort pick for him. A couple times he's tried to play the deck that he thinks is broken or what other people are playing that's proving to be powerful. But this is just his favorite deck. What we've heard him say before is it's Starlet's world and we're all just living in it.
Yes, I tend to agree with him.
Yeah, all right. Now let's talk about his opponent, Chris.
Yeah, so Chris is on Athena Starlet. You'll notice that Starlet is a good card. But this is a much more structure-based deck than Steven's characters and removal-based deck. With Athena letting you activate your stuff quickly, you can just play big chunky structures like Autonomous Sentry Turret, Anti-Silic Transmissions, Rumble Growl, 4 and 5 cost things, and they'll be just solid.
I think this is the only Skypillar Suspension Grid deck in our local meta.
Yeah.
A big part of what that card is doing is it's one of the only ways to consistently every round sabotage 2. Mm-hmm. And sabotaging 2 is extraordinarily powerful in low resource games. So this is a deck where you're really trying to trade your removal for your opponent's object so that both players are making not very many dice so that your sabotage effects get to be really magnified.
Absolutely.
All right. Looks like our players are shoveled up. Let's get to the match.
All right, exciting stuff. Let's get into this game. We've got our players all ready to go. They've got their locales. Looks like Chris still has to make either an emerald mine or a ruby mine. And it looks like I don't actually know who's going first. It'll be one of the players.
Yeah, we'll find out promptly. We've got Steven on the top. We've got Chris on the bottom. Steven really likes to stack the dice that his objects roll right near his object. So you're going to see a few more things on the table. That's just a time saver so that you'll see when other players are activating their characters that they have to figure out what dice they're rolling. Yeah. Steven never has to figure that out.
Which is honestly kind of nice, but it does make for a cluttered board. Anyway, we've got Daring Saboteur here as the first play for Steven, which is real good against this deck.
That's true. Daring Saboteur can sacrifice to deal 5 damage to a structure. 5 is the biggest number of durability that structures have.
And structures are kind of what Chris is doing.
Yeah, everything Chris has that matters is a structure.
Yeah, so I hope Chris doesn't just run headfirst into... Okay, cool. A Witchfire and a Concussive Blast. Okay.
Fabulous, yeah. So sure. Witchfire does 1 damage. It does it swiftly, which means it's still your turn. And damage on support objects is tracked through the round in this game.
Yeah, and so it's not, we're not going to put a dice on it or whatever. But in this scenario, we deal the 1, then we deal the 2. That's enough to do the 3 durability. And Chris gets a red dice out of the deal, which compensates him for the extra card. Close enough.
Yeah, close. Especially when you're a Starlet deck, you are really happy to trade a card for any effect as often as possible.
Yeah. All right, so we've got our play. Yeah, we're just rolling some dice. I mean, Steven could play some 2-cost character or something, but I bet you our players are mostly just going to be resolving out their dice and then someone digs in.
Yeah, well, Steven's gonna play something. Steven's not lining up. He's not slamming a Daring Saboteur at the beginning of the round and then not having 2 gems. So he's probably got an Enthusiastic Harmonist or something in his hand.
Doeside Thug, something like that.
This is a Starlet Mirror, so maybe we should talk a little bit more about what Starlet does.
Yeah, so Starlet says when activated, you can resolve a dice as if it showed draw, which means you're taking the number on the dice and pretending like the symbol is draw. So that 1 shield, when activated, you can have your Starlet turn it into 1 draw, or the 2 damage into 2 draw, for instance. Starlet's energy ability is a little harder to use because her activate ability is real good. she is able to discard a card to get back an ethereal card from your discard, which happens to be good with some of the big structures in Chris's deck.
Yeah, in Chris's deck, we're going to see that reasonably often. He's going to be getting back IP assemblies or anti-silic transmissions or Rumble of the Grottos.
Even if they get blown up by Daring Saboteurs.
Even if they get blown up by Daring Saboteur. With Steven's deck, we're going to see maybe continued trainings.
Yeah.
But Starlet's energy ability is not a big feature of Steven's deck.
That's not the star. So it looks like we've got the 2 gems went into a Docide Thug. Everyone traded off their dice. And Chris dug in, so Chris will be going first in the new round.
And the Bully deck ended up 1 small object, which is...
That's kind of the thing, isn't it?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So Chris got a nice positive trade that got him 1 bonus red dice exactly in round 1. Steven got a nice little bonus that gets him 1 extra red dice every round for the rest of the game.
And I guess if we just do that forever, eventually Bully will bully their opponent. So to start off with, Starlet for Chris rolled 2 physical and 1 sabotage, and it didn't look like Chris wanted to use either of those as a draw, which is,
Yeah,
fine.
sabotage...
Those are both good dice.
Sabotage 1 often trades for Dice Face 2 for your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
So resolving a Sabotage 1 as a draw definitely feels like a bad...
Yeah.
Sometimes you need it, but early in a game, you're unlikely. You have things to do.
Yeah. I would generally tend to activate Athena before activating Starlet, so that maybe this 2 shield that Athena rolled could turn to a draw or something like that. But overall, Chris rolled good dice, and now he has good dice, and that's, that's good in and of itself.
Well, and Chris has a special ability that gives you bonus activations. Athena says when you play a structure, you get to activate a character. So by starting by activating his characters, he's not getting Athena's benefit, which likely means he has some sort of reactive play he wants to make.
Yes.
And whatever it is he's trying to react to just hasn't happened yet. So he's taking action slowly.
Yes. And there's a bunch of structures in his deck that have arrival, like IP Assembly, you said, that blanks damage, or Autonomous Sentry Turret you'd want to play after your opponent plays something that it can kill. There's a bunch of reasons for this Athena deck to play kind of slowly within the round. And a pile of removal, if you're just waiting on that.
So both our players have activated their heroes, and they've been resolving a bunch of dice, and they're both desperately trying to avoid being the first one to spend their gems.
But it looks like Steven will be the one. So Wasteland Requiem here is going to, it rolls a red dice on its own and puts a yellow counter on the Docide Thug. So now that Docide Thug is real juicy.
Well,
if Chris happens to have removal right now for it.
The Docide Thug is currently shielded.
Oh, is it?
It is.
Oh.
Yes. So Steven's other hero, Sylvestra, really fits nicely into the Bully plan. Because she, when activated, gets to resolve 1 dice as if it showed shield.
Yep.
So not only does he get to keep his heroes nice and safe, he gets to keep his support objects protected from all the cheap removal that tends to be the best removal in the game.
Yeah, I just couldn't see the shield because the little Lego shield that
is
Steven
a Lego
uses.
shield.
All right, so Chris's round gems this round will be a Rumble of the Grotto, which gets 4 cost, which gets answered by the 3 cost Disrupt Communication.
2 cost Detonate Mines.
That was a...
Was it a Disrupt?
I thought it was.
Oh, my mistake. Well, you can see on the screen.
Yeah. And then Follow the Trail will be make that Sentinel, and we've got kinda parity, but Steven's board state's a little bit bigger.
And then Chris got a little damage in early in the round because he was behind on damage going into the start of the round, but it looks like...
Interesting.
Just as far as damage values, Chris had a more effective round than Steven did.
And it looks like Steven's going to dig in. Because if he just resolves 2 damage, Chris digs in and then resolves 2 damage, and you don't get much out of that. And so Steven's going to elect for both of us to have a shield rather than neither of us, is how that ends up working out.
And then he gets to go first, which probably doesn't matter tremendously here. If the Sentinel was not shielded, it would give him an opportunity to trade up against the Sentinel.
Yep. But instead of doing anything reactive, Steven's going to play a Continue Training, sticking a black counter on Starlet, which is the safer place to put it right now because, Chris is going to be going after Sylvestra, having put a bunch of damage into Sylvestra in the first place, and so that black counter will survive until the end of the game.
Yeah, having put the damage into Starlet in the early case. So he's building Sylvestra because Starlet has taken the damage.
No, the opposite. Yeah. The Sylvestra.
He's putting the counter on Starlet because Sylvestra has taken the damage.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, my mistake.
They all start with S.
Yeah.
And they both let you resolve dice as other things. They're really the same hero, aren't they?
So Steven played the Continue Training for 3 gems. It got answered by a Return to Soil for 3 gems, which once again is the bully deck just trading up a tiny bit.
Just a little bit.
We both spent a card. We both spent 3 gems. Steven adds the 1 black dice to his board for the rest of the game.
Yep. And that's... So, for Chris, he's up on damage, which is great. And if you're trading 3 for 3 gems, but you're really up on damage, that can be absolutely fine, right? Steven's growing very slowly, but you're killing him too quickly for it to matter. Great. I don't think that Chris is killing Steven too quickly for that little advantage to matter.
Right. We're in round 3, and Chris has done 7 damage. Steven had 32 health to start with. So we're on pace to end the game in round 7. Now, the reality is that the game accelerates.
Yeah.
But 7 is a long time for Steven's little advantages to add up, especially considering Steven's only 3 behind in the damage race.
Exactly. There's this kind of cool thing going on where... the Athena Starlet deck here played a Spotter Scope. Spotter Scope says when activated, you can modify a dice to a side showing damage, which just so happens to mean you can turn a dice into a 2, and then Starlet can resolve its draw if you really want to. I've always thought that was a cool interaction.
Yeah, and then in the late game, you get to do that same thing with your Sky Pillar Suspension grid. You can reliably make 2s, which you can then resolve as Sabotage.
Absolutely. Yeah, works out pretty nicely. Another Follow the Trail here for Chris will eat away at Steven's damage and make another Sentinel, which will get answered by an Oxidize. Now,
so finally a trade up for Chris.
Yes, it is.
But it means we both spent 2 gems, we both spent a card. Chris got a Sabotage 1, right? So Chris saved 2 life. It doesn't result to the ascending dice per round value that Steven is still trying to leverage his advantage in.
Yep. Steven's going to use Sylvestra's trigger to shield Sylvestra again here. And that's really effective here because Chris has a bunch of 2 damages, but no single damages to pop those shields with. So something about Manifold is you can only resolve either physical or mental, and you pick any number of dice, right? Shields eat 1 instance of damage. So if you have these 2 damages and they're getting eaten by shields, you're losing 2 damage per shield. If you had a bunch of white and black dice that only had 1 damage on them, those could trade for the shields, and it's a lot more palatable. But just shielding here on Steven's part will eat away at any tempo that Chris could get here, or most of it, really effectively.
Yeah, and that's one of the strengths of Steven's deck is a little bit of shield is a little nice. It ends up being about 1 health each.
Yeah.
Once you get a lot of shields is when they start becoming 2 health each.
Yes.
And Sylvestra guaranteeing you a shield and Starlet rolling 2 blue dice mean this green-yellow bully deck is very defensive.
Yes, when it wants to be.
When it wants to be.
Yeah, and another thing that's kind of interesting actually about this specific matchup is I don't think Chris has played a card yet that rolls a white or black dice. It's all premium dice. Right?
He played a Radar Servo,
and a
rolls
Rumble
black,
and a Rumble of the Grotto
Rumble, which rolls black, but he never got to activate any of those objects.
For the most part, Chris is making premium dice, and which are hopefully showing 2 damages, and those 2 damages, when eaten by Sylvestra's shield that she's just making, not for free, but kind of for free,
but reliably,
yeah, is not ideal for Chris.
So we're already in round 4.
Yep.
And Steven took no damage in round 3.
Yeah.
So he's still at 7 taken. Chris has now taken 10 total. Round 4 is when the average Manifold game ends.
Well, yeah.
This game is not ending in round 4.
It could. It's not going to. But yeah, so Chris is gonna roll his Starlet, draw some cards with her trigger, and Starlet's down to 6 health, so she's not going to die at the start of the round here necessarily, but she's probably not surviving until next round.
She's probably not surviving until next round. And when she dies this round is relatively immaterial. We've already gotten her dice. So if we wanted to use her energy ability, we would need to do that before she was defeated. And we do have a Rumble of the Grotto in our discard. One of the reasons you don't use Starlet's energy ability that often is because Starlet gives you so many cards that you usually have something to play.
Yeah.
And you don't need to spend your dice figuring out something to play.
Yep. But, and so now that Starlet's been activated, she can go away this round. That's probably okay if you're Chris. Chris is going to play an Anti-Silic Transmissions here as his big, chunky structure for the turn of choice.
Now, there are 3 reasons this card is really good in this matchup. 1, it has 4 durability, so it doesn't die to any of Steven's 2-gem removal.
Yes, like Detonate Mines.
2, it rolls 3 dice. It rolls 2 boon dice, which, as you were talking about, is a more effective way to fight against Steven's shields.
Yep.
And then 3, it has a trigger that lets you spend blank dice to remove shields from any object when you activate it.
Which is good for a couple of reasons.
Right there, it was functionally 1 damage, but when you're trying to kill your opponent's support characters, this is one of the cheapest ways to remove shields from your opponent's support objects.
Yeah, absolutely. So like that Docide Thug that's just been sitting there rolling 2 premium dice the whole game, taking off the shield with Anti-Silic Transmissions and then like concussive blasting it or whatever becomes a very reasonable, very solid line.
Now, admittedly, Steven had Sylvestra up, who would have the opportunity to immediately shield it again. So that's, I presume, why Chris opted to just get the effectively 1 damage.
Yes. But, good card is really all.
Yeah, exactly. It really helps to fight the axes that Steven is trying to leverage.
Yes. All right, so it looks like Chris has made just a pile of dice. We got some damage. We got some Sabotage Shield. Bunch of stuff, and 4 gems left. But Chris isn't... Do you think Chris is going to play like interaction or another big thing? Another big structure.
A diplomatic meeting would be the expected piece of interaction, and that would leave him with an awkward number of gems left. So my hunch is that he's going to play another big structure. If he had 2 diplomatic meetings and that could keep Starlet alive,
that's pretty nice.
That would be excellent.
Yeah.
But there's a pretty narrow suite of cards he could have that let that happen.
Absolutely. So we got something kind of cool and new here. Athena's energy ability says you spend energy to resolve up to 2 dice as though they showed physical damage. And that means if you're resolving any random 1 alongside your energy, you can just take off a shield. And while not, efficient, that's still a good way, a decent enough way to get your 2 damages through.
Right, so that's something I wanted to talk about. We talked about this being a Starlet mirror. For both of these guys, their prestige is on Starlet, and in both cases... Oh, I guess only in one case is Starlet the one that's dying first.
Yeah.
But an important deck-building decision that both of these guys made was their opposite hero has a nice offensive energy ability.
Yes, so that by the end of the game, once you've... if you're looking at 2 21s and one has prestige and you're not sure which one to go for, it's usually a good enough idea to just go for the one with the prestige, right?
It's 50% more dice.
Yes, it does. And so by the end of the game, when you're actually trying to, win, having an energy ability that on Sylvestra's side creates damage or on Athena's side resolves damage or dice as damage, it's a pretty good idea. It works out pretty nicely. So Orchestral Conductor on Steven's side, having not taken that much, any damage this round so far, is going to probably let him punch back pretty hard against Chris.
Yeah, this guy is huge.
Yes.
At 5 gems, he rolls red-blue himself, which is just a little bit below the rate. Commons will roll 2 premium dice and 1 boon dice, so this guy's down 1 boon dice. But instead, what does he give you?
He puts a red counter on each of 2 other support characters you control, which is double that rate that the red-blue. Yeah, now it's red-blue. Yeah, it's real good as long as you have 2 support characters and they're shielded or they're safe enough to put counters on. And in a Sylvestra deck, she's able to turn these random 2s you've got into shield 2s, so you're shielding your hero and also the Docide Thug and also the Enthusiastic Harmonist.
And so if you are in a yellow character deck, Orchestral Conductor is a juggernaut.
Oh, yeah.
I think we will be seeing him a lot this tournament.
Yes, absolutely. There's like 5 or 6 solid yellow characters that all kind of work together that we're going to be seeing together.
Yeah, we'll be seeing Docide Thugs, we'll be seeing Orchestral Conductors.
Energy Retracers, Enthusiastic Harmonists.
That one's not as ubiquitous as I...
Yeah, maybe it should be.
Yeah.
So this final gem for Steven is going to be Sleight of Hand, eating a damage and modifying 1, or eating 2 damage, I think it was, and modifying 1. And Chris is out of dice, so he's just going to dig in here, and Steven will get to resolve his, 11 dice or something?
So this is the first time that it really is all falling apart.
Yes.
It looks like Chris might be discarding his last card, or maybe he set that down on the table because he knew Steven was going to be resolving Rend.
Yeah.
But he left all of these gems unspent.
Yeah.
Examine the specimens, didn't have any decent targets because of Steven's shields.
Yeah. So this is quite unfortunate for Chris. If he was able to spend 4 gems on a, Rumble of the Grotto or something, that'd look a bit better. But instead, he'll just be taking a bunch of damage.
Yep. Instead, he'll just be taking a bunch of damage, and he's playing off the top of his deck. And Starlet won't be drawing him cards anymore.
Yes.
So Chris has found himself without a whole lot of advantages.
And Steven's board just keeps growing. That's the whole green-yellow bully thing.
And normally, Chris's hope would be maybe my opponent runs out of relevant plays. But Steven Starlet is still alive, so that's not particularly likely. It's still possible, and I think it's still Chris's path to victory. Chris needs to put objects into play, make more dice, and hope that Steven can't answer them.
If Chris just draws like a 4-drop and a 5-drop big structure, and Steven draws 2 little dinky pieces of removal that don't happen to have targets right now, great.
Skypillar Suspension Grid is one of Red-Green's big structures, and it's actually not good here. It does not catch you up in runaway games. It closes the door in games that you've been able to keep close.
Yeah, but I'd rather a Skypillar Suspension Grid. I guess it doesn't even roll great dice. So yeah, you're probably right about that.
Yeah. Chris doesn't have any green dice, so he's not even going to be able to draw. Oh, yeah, no, Athena rolls green. My mistake.
So that might be a draw too. Rumble of the Grotto is fine. So actually, now that you mention it, most of Chris's structures are defensive, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We don't have any real options for offense other than more anti-cellular transmissions.
Oh, I would have to check the deck list again. Sometimes there's ritual circles in this deck.
Sure. But off the top of my head, it's like, you got your sabotages, you got your blank damage off of IP assemblies, you got removal off what's it called?
Autonomous Sentry Turret.
Yeah, that one. But all of those don't really, push farther ahead. They don't really catch you up as much as keep a lead if you have it.
Yeah, and so honestly, probably the best things Chris could be drawing right now would be like Declaration of Wars and like ways to take these big 3 dice objects away from Steven.
Yeah. Either way, we one of the kind of nice things as a spectator for the way that Steven uses his dice and puts them in play like that is you can really see how big each of these objects are and what they're going to roll. It's kind of handy. But look at that Docide Thug, red, yellow as a 2-drop.
That already killed a servo.
Yeah, looking pretty good.
He's bigger than the sum of his parts.
Yes, he is. All right, so Steven has Chris gonna take the shield off of Sylvestra with the Sentinel, and Steven's just gonna activate Sylvestra again, potentially resolving one of these. Yep. So he'll just shield Sylvestra right back, so that yellow 2 damage does not get to be resolved into her. Sylvestra is looking real nice here, isn't she?
Yeah. She didn't get pressured harder than she could handle, which the Starlet Athena deck it's a big control deck.
Yes.
It tries to outboard you and then kill you later. So that makes a lot of sense. And then it just made Examine the Specimens, which is otherwise a really premium removal spell, just made it dead in Chris's hand, ready to be discarded.
Yeah. Now, there is a world in which anti-cellular transmissions and Witchfire turns on your Examine the Specimens, and then you can answer the Docide Thugs really cleanly or whatever. But that didn't really come together this game. And that means if you're Chris, you don't have many, offensive plays, because you're looking at defensive plays that don't really, pull you back.
And there's a lot of complexity in the what does yellow give to Starlet as opposed to red giving to Starlet. But something that's real simple. IP Assembly is going to go a long way towards preventing Steven from killing Chris this round.
Yes. So that'll just blank 3 dice showing damage. And I mean, this is what I said was a path to victory, right?
Yeah. And
a 4-drop and a 5-drop.
And Rumble and IP do a really good job of keeping you alive.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Steven does just kind of keep growing. That's what the yellow dice counters cards do very well.
Yeah, and as long as Starlet's alive, he's never going to run out of his growth potential.
Right.
And Starlet isn't even the one that Chris is targeting first.
Yeah.
So Starlet's going to stay alive this whole game.
Yep.
But this point I wanted to make about the 2 different Starlet builds.
Oh, of course.
Is the Athena tempo. It's really good against other aggressive decks that are trying to use a lot of tempo.
Yes.
Because it lets you make your dice fast enough to resolve your shields and resolve your sabotage. And so Athena's kind of an anti-aggro version of this build.
Yes.
Sylvestra getting to shield your support objects means Steven's on kind of a anti-control version of this build.
Yes.
And so getting into the control mirror, Sylvestra definitely is more powerful than Athena here.
Absolutely. And not only that, but no. You actually said everything I was going to say.
Awesome.
So yeah,
Thank
great.
you.
Good job. All right. So Steven's going to play a contraband dealer. Just keep making some dice. It looks like Chris has basically made all of his dice already, resolving out some damage, resolving out some stuff, and Chris will be done for the round and digging in.
That's a lot of blank dice on Steven's side of the board.
So many blank dice.
No,
I mean,
the IP
three of them were IP assembly.
Yeah, the IP assembly went a long way towards it. And then Contraband Dealer is a good way to turn those blank dice into something, but it didn't actually turn them into much.
No, it did not. And I mean, Steven could do, I don't know, a couple tactical rerolls here.
Yeah, Steven has some cards in his hand, and so
Yeah.
he has the ability to fight against this bad luck in a way that Chris doesn't. Because Chris doesn't have cards in his hand, so Chris doesn't get the luxury of rerolling these 3 blank dice in his pool.
Yep. So it looks like Steven is going to take that opportunity, and he dealt 1 damage to Chris, so Chris dug in on Athena, so now we are living entirely in Steven's world.
Which means
Reroll.
Sylvestra lived another round.
That is true. Yes.
As much as we want to talk about, can Chris survive this round?
Mm-hmm.
Surviving is only helpful if he's actually approaching his win condition.
That's true. That's true. Remember that energy gets to turn a dice into red, showing 2 damage. And so each of these energies and a blank, it's functionally 1 damage apiece on them. So Steven does have a decent amount of damage there, even before potentially rerolling again or modifying into damage or whatever he's going to end up doing.
Yeah, so 2 rerolls plus Starlet's energy ability went a long way towards making Steven's dice all resolvable.
Sylvestra's energy ability.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All these ass names.
Yeah. The yellow Starlet and the green Starlet. So we got 2 damage there, 2 damage there, 2 damage there, etc., etc. And at the end of the day, we'll see. Looks like it was 8 damage dealt to Athena here, or she already had 2 on her, so 6 damage.
I think there's some more coming.
Yeah, though there is. Yeah, there's gonna be more coming. I'll let Steven do the math here. But Athena's not dead.
I mean, Steven still has cards in his hand and 3 red dice, right? It looks like there's 5 damage here.
You're right.
And so it doesn't take a whole lot to make that lethal.
Okay. It looks like Steven's going to at least try to high roll.
Yeah, 1s are not how you do that. We're still at 5 damage. Oh, we're up to 6 damage here.
Okay.
Oh, no, there was one more
there
yellow
was
dice
yellow
I didn't
dice.
see. Yep.
The yellow dice off to the side was the thing. So we got 3 modify, turning those 3 premium dice to 2 damage apiece, and then 2 1 damages equals 8. And that'll be it. Steven will take the first game here in his group.
Fabulous. And that's the first game in Season 1 of Manifold Premier League.
Very nice.
So that means we'll be seeing Steven in the winner's match. We'll be seeing Chris in the rebound match. But first, we need to go play placement match B to see who their opponents will be.
We'll see you there.
And if you liked this video, please like this video.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to see more of these videos, subscribe to the channel.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sell you on my YouTube channel. I'm trying to sell you on Manifold.
Yeah. The whole like and subscribe thing is overdone, but it is really, really helpful.
Yeah. It's how this channel grows. It's how more people are going to find this content, and it's how you're going to end up with more people who want to play Manifold with you. So please help us out.
Yeah, this is really for you.
It's really for you.
Excellent. Well, thanks for watching. See you next time.